Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CTAP Town Hall Cougar Textbook Access Program. My name is Deb Hubler. I'm the Executive Director for Auxiliary Services, and the UH Campus Store is one of the programs that I oversee. So we're happy that you were able to join us today to learn a little bit more about this exciting new program that we have kicking off for this fall 2023 semester. So we're just basically going to go over our FAQ page for CTAP. I think that probably has the most thorough information about what CTAP is about and some of the details related to how to access your materials, how the program is structured, etc. So basically, the Cougar Textbook Access Program, it provides all undergraduate students with all of their required course materials for one low flat fee. That fee is $299 plus tax for the fall and spring semesters and $180 plus tax for summer semesters. And the reason that we implemented this program is because the university wanted to find a way to try to continue to provide access and affordability to students in relation to course materials. So there was a task force that had representation from various stakeholders within the university. It was chaired by Dr. Terry Longacre, Dean of Undergraduate Students, and my boss, Dr. Emily Mesa, who is the Senior Associate Vice Chancellor for Administration for the university. And we had representation from students and faculty on our Bookstore Advisory Committee. We had Faculty Senate representation. We had representation from the Student Government Association, from financial aid, our bursar's office, all the different areas that would be involved with this program, either as a recipient or as a someone who needed to help us implement that. And so we did a pilot for the program starting in spring of 22, and it was a very successful pilot. So we got really good feedback on that from both students and faculty who participated in the pilot semesters. And it was decided that we wanted to expand the program and make it available to the most students as we could. And so in February of this year, the Board of Regents approved expanding this program to all undergraduate students for this fall. And so that's where we are now. And so basically what CTAP does is it provides all required course materials to all undergraduate students by the first day of class. It is structured so that if there is digital content available for the material, then the material is provided to students in a digital content first. And where there is no digital content available, then physical materials will be provided. That includes clicker subscriptions, and it also includes things like McGraw Connect and Top Hat and things like that. How do I know if I'm eligible for CTAP? So basically, if you are an undergraduate student, you were automatically enrolled into CTAP when you registered for classes. There is no separate action required from you to participate. Graduate students are not part of the CTAP at this time. That is something we may be able to bring on board in future years, but at this time, it's just for undergraduate students. How much is a CTAP fee? So I talked about that a little bit earlier, but $299 plus $24.67 sales tax for this fall. And so students are seeing that as a learning material fee in the special and optional fees section of their student fee bill. And then they're seeing a learning material tax line for that $24.67 sales tax. This is not a mandatory fee. It is optional. You are automatically enrolled, but you are able to opt out of the program on a semester by semester basis. So you may decide it's not going to work for you for this semester because maybe you only have one course material that's required for your classes and it's going to cost you $75. And so you're not going to want to pay that $299 fee, and then you would want to opt out of the program. But next semester, maybe you have more course materials for your classes, and if you were to purchase them separately, it might cost you $500. In that case, it would be beneficial for you to stay in the program, because instead of paying that $500 separately for retail pricing, you would just be paying the $299 plus tax for that. And so students can decide on a semester by semester basis if they think the program is going to work for them or not, and they can decide if they want to stay in or opt out of it. One of the big benefits of this program is that you can use your financial aid or scholarship award if you have aid in excess of the cost of tuition and other fees. So you can apply that towards the fee because the fee is added onto your student fee bill. And that's a huge benefit for a lot of students who depend on financial aid to help pay for their course materials, because you can't apply financial aid directly if you go to the UH campus store, or if you go to Amazon, or if you go directly to a publisher, right? You would have to pay cash or credit cards. So it's a big benefit to students, and we were happy to be able to have that aspect of CTAP available to students. Are part-time students included? Yes. So again, all undergraduate students, if you are classified as an undergraduate student, you are enrolled in CTAP, regardless of number of hours that you are taking. We already talked about graduate students are not eligible at this time. We know that there's a, it's a new program. There's a lot of questions that people have. The best way to contact us is through this ctapuh@central.uh.edu email address. I personally am answering those emails every day. So if you have questions that are not answered here, or if you have questions specific to your particular situation, then please email this, and I will get back to you within 24 hours, or 1 business day, I should say. And as I mentioned, it is not a mandatory program. You can opt out of the program. You do need to make sure that you purchase the materials on your own if you do decide to opt out of the program. And to opt out, you would just need to access your student account. There is a financials icon in your student account. When you click on that, in the left-hand column, you will see the CTAP opt-out on the left-hand column menu. And then when you click on that, it will take you to a page where there is an opt-out button. You click on the opt-out button and it will opt you out of the CTAP program. And once you opt out, you can opt back in. So once you click that opt-out button will turn into an opt-in button. So if you opt out and you start classes and you're like, gosh, this program is actually going to work for me, I think I want to opt back in, you can opt back in as long as you opt back in before the deadline. And the deadline is based on what we call official reporting day, or ORD for short, which is basically the last day that you can drop or add a class without receiving a grade, or you can withdraw from the university without receiving a grade. That is going to vary per term. I'm going to click on this so you can kind of get an idea of what that, oh, this is not taking us to the right page. Sorry about that. But basically for the main general term, the opt-out deadline / ORD deadline is September 6th. And it's a little bit different if you're taking one of the mini sessions. Sorry, we will get that link fixed, and then you better click on that and it'll take you to the calendar and you can see what those specific opt-out deadlines are. But if you do opt out of the program, then your student fee bill will be adjusted. So you will get a credit back onto your student fee bill for the $299 plus tax. And since we're talking about that, I am going to bring up another slide, and we have Kevin Burns, the bursar for the university, because I know we get a lot of questions about payments and when they're due, and does this apply with installment plans, etc. So I am going to turn this over to Kevin and let him talk about the payment deadlines. Oh, excuse me, you know what? I think this is not showing. Hold on. Technical difficulty. I'm going to stop sharing and reshare so that you can see this slide.
Thank you. I can see it.
All right.
So here we're looking at the university payment deadlines and plans. One of the first questions to answer is CTAP can be added to your payment plan. If you have the installment plan, it will be broken up between your remaining installments. If you had the deferment plans, it will go into your deferment plans. We've already went past August 15th, so primarily students will be choosing payment plans. They're looking towards those latter dates. We're still kind of close, so some students may still see a calculation for their first date. If you were to just register today and you chose an installment plan, then the CTAP would be included, but you might see that payment was broken up between the 4 payments and you would owe for that. Other than that, that's the really important things to understand with the CTAP fees. Many students we just had one round of cancellation, so to speak. I hesitate to say that. I know it's such a dark word, but if a student was to re-enroll into courses still at this time, they could re-enroll and still get a payment plan, and all the fees will be adjusted into that payment plan. I know students to have the ability to opt in and out of the CTAP fee if they were to still opt back in. If I'm correct, Deb, then it would still the payment plans can still adjust to take that fee. So students don't have to be worried about that, whether the payment plans will take or not take that. And
Yeah.
that's all we have pretty much with this slide.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. And
You're welcome.
yes, so yes, my understanding is that if you opt out of the fee today, the credit will show up on your student fee bill by the end of the day. If you opt back in tomorrow, then at the end of the day, or it might be Monday because it's a Saturday, but you will see that fee added back on. So the fee comes on and off as you opt in and out of the program. One of the questions that we've been getting through the CTAP email is if they do choose to opt out, and then they have the credit on their student fee bill, they're asking either when or what do they need to do in order to get a refund, or if they have a credit on their student fee bill, they're saying, how can I get that credit? Is that something that you could share with us today?
Sure. Now, this is ultimately stating that you have a credit in the end. It could be confused a little bit. For example, if CTAP was amongst all of your fees and then you opt out of CTAP and CTAP just subtracts by $299, but you still owe for other things, then technically you wouldn't have a credit because you haven't really paid for CTAP yet.
Right.
But if let's say you do have a credit, overall you do have a credit, and then you would go through our regular refunding process. And so then we would need to make sure that you have chosen a refund option. If you haven't chosen a refund option, then it would refund out to you in the form of a check. But that's the longest option. But if you had any questions regarding, hey, how do I get signed up for a refund process? How do I, get signed up with our third-party refunder? Then you would just call us at Student Business Services at 713-743-1010 option 6, and we could walk you through that process rather easily.
Okay. So just basically, just as one scenario would be if you paid in full, the due date was August 15th. So theoretically, as a student, let's say I paid off my entire thing, I didn't do the payment plan, and I have a zero balance, right? Because I paid everything. And then August 18th, I opted out of CTAP. So then I ended up getting a credit on my bill for that $299 plus a $24.67 tax, and then I would have a credit. And then I would be able to request a refund. And then at that point, in that particular scenario, they would be able to be refunded that entire amount upon request, right? And I'm just looking at that one scenario if they paid in full. But if they still owe something, if they still owe $100 somewhere, then it would be that $299 plus $24.67 minus that $100 that they still owe, right?
Correct. It's just credited into what you owe.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, thank you for that clarification. Okay,
Let
me bring up let me see. Oh, no, I'm gonna have to stop sharing and reshare again. Okay, so that answers the question about being refunded the CTAP fee. When will the opt-out window open? So it is already open. It opened. We did have it set up initially to open 2 weeks prior to the first day of class. What we discovered is that once the student fee bill was generated and students started seeing that fee on their bill, they wanted to opt out right away. And so for future terms, we are going to coordinate with the business office and make sure that once the student fee bill is generated, we will open the opt-out window at that time. So students will be able to opt out right away. And the opt-out deadline, as I mentioned, is ORD, or the last day that you can drop or add a class without receiving a grade. And again, for the main general term, that deadline is September 6th. If you withdraw from the university, will you be refunded the CTAP fee? So if you didn't opt out, but you ended up withdrawing from the university. We follow the, let's see if this thing works. So we follow the same guidelines as the university policies as far as when you will be, how much you will be able to have refunded to you depending on when you refunded, excuse me, so when you withdrew. So there are dates here, fall of 2023. So there are certain percentages that you have refunded to you depending on when you withdrew from the university. So if you withdraw but you didn't opt out of CTAP, then you will only get partial refunds based on these dates. So if you do opt out, though, obviously you'll get the full refund regardless of when you withdraw, because once you opt out, that full credit is applied back to your student fee bill. Okay, so how do I access the digital course materials? So it can be, there's a couple of different ways for the digital side. So with some materials, mostly for digital textbook rentals, you'll receive an email from our partner called Brightwave. So if you see an email from Brightwave, students, don't delete it because it has information on how you can access digital rentals. There's a link here. I'm not going to go into this, but you can click on this and it tells you how to access your digital bookshelf and what it looks like and things like that. And then there's other types of digital materials that you should automatically see in Canvas when you go into Canvas in your student account. A lot of the material is already there, but some of it is still in the process of being set up. So a lot of the questions we've been getting in the CTAP email is, I see some of my materials, but not all of it. And that's because some of the publishers may still be in the process of setting them up, or some of the faculty members may still be in the process of setting up their course materials in Canvas. So if you don't see it yet, and it's something that is supposed to be digitally accessible, you will eventually receive an email from Brightwave, or you will eventually be able to see that link in Canvas. If you should be able to see it all by Monday, because that's the first day of class. So if you don't see it yet, don't panic. It should be showing up by Monday. And we did want to point this out here because the way that the CTAP program works for undergraduates is that the digital materials are going to be accessible to all students, even if you opted out of the program through that ORD September 6th deadline. So we want to make sure that you know that, because some students may think that there's a glitch in the system and they're like, oh no, I opted out, but I can still access my materials. I'm getting it for free. That's not the case, because once the drop date opt-out deadline passes, that access is going to get turned off and you will lose access to that. So just want to make sure that we point that out. If you do drop it, you do need to still make sure that you procure the materials on your own, because there is a paywall that's going to go up after that September 6th deadline passes. Access to digital materials after the semester is finished. Currently, not the case with most publishers. They will be available to you through the entire semester, but the access does go away usually within, it varies by publishers, but it is not permanent access. Can I get printed copy of digital materials? So some publishers do have a print upgrade available. There is an additional charge if you want to have a printed material in addition to the digital access for your materials, and that price varies by publisher. So if that's something that you would like to request, you would need to email us and let us know that you have that request. And then if you registered after classes started, or if you added a new class, you know, you had 4 classes, you decided to add a 5th one onto that, you will receive, once you register, you will receive the access to the materials within 24 hours of registering. Now, I did mention that there are some materials that are going to be physical and not digital. And those, by the way, will be yours to keep. The physical materials are purchased, not rentals. The UH Campus Store has received a bunch of the materials in over the course of the last week and a half or so, and they are putting all of the orders together and they are emailing students as their orders are ready. And so we have tried to kind of structure the pickup dates to be organized by last name. So if your last name is Honda, then your pickup date is scheduled for tomorrow. And then starting on the 24th, you can come in and pick it up at any time. And so The pickup area, it's on the first floor by Starbucks. So if you go in through the entrance of the campus store by Starbucks, there is a pickup window there, and then you'll see signs for the alphabetical orders, and it should be pretty easy for you to figure out where you need to go to pick up your physical materials. And then if you need to have them shipped to you, you can. These are the instructions. You can actually go to the campus store website, go follow these steps, and then they will make sure to ship the materials to you for the flat fee of $7.99. If you drop or opt out of CTAP and you already picked up your physical materials, you do need to return them. You just return them to the campus store, and if you don't return them, then there is, what will happen is that if you are already in CTAP and paid that fee, but let's say you dropped a class that you picked up the physical materials, you will be charged the full retail price for that if you don't return it to the store. If you opt out of CTAP, and then you got credited that $2.99 fee, but you picked up a physical book and you didn't return it, then you will end up getting recharged that $2.99 CTAP fee. So if you have picked up a physical material for a class you no longer need, you do need to make sure that you return that to the UH campus store to avoid paying those penalties. How long do I have to pick them up? So we're hoping that we can get all the students to come in within the first 2 weeks of the semester. We will still have it if you can't come within the first couple of weeks. We're not going to send them away or anything. They will still be available to you, but we ask that you try to come in and pick it up as soon as possible. Our supplies and lab materials such as goggles, etc., included in the CTAP fee? No, they are not included at this time. And then this was mainly geared toward students, but we do have some faculty FAQs that we put on here because this is a new program for faculty as well. I'll just quickly go through this. So we did want to make sure that we preserved faculty choice here. So really the only change that faculty members may have to make in their adoptions is that they may have to upgrade to the most recent edition if they were using an older edition, because it's the most recent editions that have that digital copy available, and or if they were using physical materials but there's digital content available for that physical material that you used to require, then instead of it being a physical material, it would be a digital content material for your students. Desk copies, if you need desk copies, we will make sure that you get those at no cost to you. Ancillary materials are delivered in the same way that they've always been delivered: PowerPoints, quizzes, etc. Digital materials are available through the Canvas LMS. If you need help learning how to use it, if you're using digital content for the first time, then you contact us or contact your publisher, because they will work with you to make sure that you receive the training you need to be able to use those digital materials. And then we've done surveys on the students and faculty who participated in our pilot programs, and we did get positive feedback that there was a positive impact on students learning. You know, faculty felt like their students were more prepared to start learning on day one instead of having to spend day one going over the syllabus as much and trying to tell them where to go to get their materials. And then we also just put in a blurb here about what you could put on your syllabi about CTAP, because we know that this is new for faculty as well. Faculty, you can also email us at the CTAP UH email address, and if it's a question I can't answer, then I forward it to Samantha Eads at the campus store, and she works with the faculty members to make sure they understand the program and they know how to use their materials. Okay, so that pretty much covers our FAQ page. And so we just wanted to go in and let's see what kind of questions that we had come up. All right, so we have one question. I am graduating in the fall. Do I also need to pay the fee for the spring semester after I graduate in the fall, even though I'm not going to have another spring semester? No. So if you are not registered for spring, then you're not going to get charged for it. The CTAP fee is added only when you register for classes. So if you don't register for classes for spring, you will not be charged that CTAP fee. And then this is, I am currently doing a fall installment plan and it's listed under my fall 2023 tuition when it is broken down into my account summary. So if I do all 4 payments, CTAP is covered. And Kevin, I believe the answer is Kevin still on here? He may have hopped off, but
I'm still here.
oh, okay.
Okay. Let me read the question. This is the one that says, this is from Kyle. I am currently doing a fall installment plan and is listed under my fall 2023 tuition. Yes, correct, Kyle. You are correct. If I do all 4 payments, CTAP is covered, right? Correct.
And hi, Kyle. I recognize your name. We've been emailing back and forth in the CTAP UH email. I recognize his name. Another question just popped up. Some classes prohibit electronic devices during class. Then they will need to have hard copies. Will this be possible even if e-versions were available? So, so we're working with some of those courses that the structure of the program and the structure that it needs to be in order to provide the best pricing to students is that we provide digital content where available. We were made aware not too long, well, earlier in the summer that some classes require physical materials and because they don't allow these, they don't allow laptops and phones into the classroom. So we're working with them on providing physical copies for those classes and also working with them on transitioning to ebooks for the future, because we weren't, when we did the pricing, we weren't planning on having physical copies where there was digital content available. So that's a work in progress. But we are working with some of those, specifically some of the honors courses where they prefer to have physical content. So yeah, we are working with them on making sure that there is physical content being available in those classes. All right, well, I don't see any additional questions. Wanted to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, Kevin, for hopping on and helping us answer payment questions. Again, email us. I will answer you as soon as I can, and we're really excited about the program, and we hope you are too. So with that being said, we will go ahead and end this event, and I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and good luck with class next week. Go Cougs!
Go Cougs. Thank you.
Thank you.